Happy St. Patrick's Day, and welcome to a little soiree St. Patrick's Day celebration.
Woo!
We're all wearing our green, we're all very excited, Irish or not, it's a wonderful day to enjoy with friends. So what we're doing today is we thought we'd get together at Soiree Central and do a little warm-up, and then we're going to make our way to some local bars and pubs in the area. I tried to purposely pick some of the ones that aren't the super crowded ones because I would rather be inside enjoying the day with my friends than outside in line with a lot of people that are very, 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 very drunk. So I love doing little get-togethers with my friends, and I love the pub crawls. Culver City, where I live, has summertime pub crawls where you go to all the different businesses and bars and they have specials and samples and treats. And it's just a really fun way to discover local businesses and have a really good time with friends and take silly pictures and everything. So when I think of a pub crawl, I like to get into the theme. And St. Patrick's Day is super easy. So I like to do goodie bags for my pub crawl guests. And you can hit the 99-cent store, you can hit Amazon. We have little flasks that have little shamrocks on them. I have green pop rocks because no pub crawl is complete without pop rocks. I have some little tattoos, shamrock tattoos, which we can put on. I'm going to bring some extra later because we have some friends that are meeting us along the way. These are really cute. They're little green shot glasses. Okay, you get to listen to my crinkle of me opening this, which I'm sure is really, really fun. Ah, here we go. On a stick. So we're set. And I made for everybody these Irish whiskey balls. You know, like rum balls or bourbon balls that you do at Christmas time? These are with Irish whiskey. So they're basically crushed up cookies. I used a combination of like vanilla wafer cookies, vanilla wafers, and I actually added in some speculoos, those spiced, are they Norwegian? I don't know. Anyway, they're like spiced hard cookies that I get at Trader Joe's, so I wanted to give like a little extra flavor level. So it's like the cookies crushed, some finely chopped toasted nuts, cocoa powder, powdered sugar, corn syrup, little cinnamon, little whiskey. I threw in about a tablespoon of Bailey's because I wanted to amp up the flavor. And they're really fun. They're not quite a cookie, they're not quite a candy. I rolled them in powdered sugar and they keep really nicely. You can kind of see. Kira, you want to try one?
Yes, I do.
We have to get a sample. So here.
Okay.
And I'm going to grab something while you're doing that.
This is almost like, I would put these on at Christmas.
Well, they do. So that's a really traditional Christmas rum balls. People used to make rum balls, like my grandmother made rum balls or whatever, bourbon balls or whatever. And that's a really common thing, but I thought, why not alter them? Like you could make them for Cinco de Mayo and do them with tequila and just change your spices. So it's really fun to take like a basic recipe and say, why can't I do that at different holidays?
I would never think about that. To change the liquor from
change the
tequila.
liquor, change the spices. It's not hard to do because you're using the basic ingredients anyway.
Yeah.
So it's just like tailor it. And I do my homemade Bailey's Irish cream every year.
You can really taste the whiskey in the pieces.
Believe it or not, it made like 48 little balls. It only had like a third a cup whiskey in the whole thing, but you don't cook it, right? So it doesn't cook off because usually when you cook like baked cookies or whatever, the booze cooks off, so you don't taste it as much. So
delicious.
And then all my crawl guests will go home with their own little bottle of homemade Bailey's Irish cream. Has to be refrigerated, so it did not go into the goodie bag, but it's delicious. You can also make French toast with it, which is like absurdly good.
Oh my gosh.
Pour it over ice cream, put it in your coffee. It's delicious. I'm a big fan of this. And it keeps pretty well in the fridge. Not that you'll have it very long because you'll drink it really quickly, but you can have it in there. I've had it in there for a couple months.
I know what I'm having for the hair of the dog tomorrow.
Bailey's in coffee is perfect the day after St. Patrick's Day, the next morning. So I'll move these aside, and then what we are starting with. So my favorite drink on St. Patrick's Day is Irish coffee. And in college, we used to go to Tom Bergin's on Fairfax, and they have like the best Irish coffee in town. You'd wait in line half the day just to get in because it was super, super crowded. But their Irish coffee was really, really, really good. And I'm not really a beer drinker much, and I'm not someone who's going to put green beer in their mouth. So I'm a big Irish coffee fan. So Irish coffee, you can get fancy with it, but it's actually really, really, really simple. What you're going to do is you're going to take a nice Irish whiskey. I have Jameson's here. It's kind of most people's go-to.
My fave.
And I'm going to put 1.5 ounces of Jameson's in each of these Irish coffee cups. And that looks like a lot, and it kind of is. But this is a cocktail, so keep that in mind. We are making a cocktail. We're not just spiking up the coffee. And you're not shaking this. We're just doing it all in glass. Now, if you really want to do this right, and I didn't because it's a little harder to do on camera, you're going to put hot water, plain hot water, in your Irish coffee mugs. Temperature safe, please, because you do not want shattered glass mugs. And then right before you're going to do what I'm doing, you pour out the hot water and the mugs are already heated. That helps keep the coffee warm. One of the downfalls of not good Irish coffees are, one, it gets watery, and two, it doesn't stay hot enough. So heating up your mugs is the way to keep it warmer. One of the things I do to combat the second thing was with getting it watery is, instead of just making a simple syrup, which is equal parts sugar and water to sweeten this, I do what's called a rich syrup. So you do 2 times the sugar and 1 time the water. Now, I did a combination of brown sugar or demerara and regular, because it gives caramely notes with the whiskey, and you just get a much nicer flavor. So I'm going to put about 1 ounce of this caramely rich simple syrup in each glass.
And simple syrup for people who...
It's equal parts sugar and water, simmered. You don't have to boil it. Simmered until the sugar is really well dissolved, and then cooled. I always keep simple syrups in my fridge. It keeps forever. I've got flavored simple syrups that I make. You can infuse them with things. You can do a honey syrup where you're melting the honey with water. That's a way to be able to use honey in cocktails that are shaken with ice and not have it get hard, have it actually distribute through the cocktail. So a simple syrup is a really basic thing that you should have in your cocktail repertoire. Make a big thing of it and just keep it in the fridge. It keeps forever. So I have brewed some fresh coffee. I am going to put coffee in each of these mugs. I'm a big Kona coffee fan, so that's actually what I did. But just use whatever your favorite coffee of choice. Leave room, I poured that one a little high. Leave room for your cream. So one of us is not getting a whole lot of cream. And that kind of also serves to mix up, although I'm going to give everything a quick stir because I want my coffee and whiskey and syrup to be all mixed. So the fun thing about the Irish coffee is the contrast in temperatures. So you've got the hot coffee, and then this is heavy whipping cream, and all I did was whip it up, kind of. You still want it kind of liquidy. You do not want to make it like Ready Whip consistency. And it's cold, so you want to use cold cream. And actually, we can kind of, if you run it over a spoon, it helps get it on the top without going all to the bottom. So I'm just going to continue to, this is going to get a little messy, bear with me. The queen is not coming today, so we're not getting super fancy. My aunt used to say that. She used to say, is the queen coming to join us for lunch or whatever? So that was kind of a running joke in my family. See, so running it over the back of the spoon like this instead of just dumping it in helps the cream stay on the top of the coffee. And part of the point is you end up sipping the hot coffee through the cold cream. I did not sweeten the cream because I think that there's enough sweetness in the rich simple syrup that I have put in with the whiskey. You can sweeten the cream if you like things a little sweeter. By all means, go ahead. Some people put vanilla in it, some people put Bailey's in it or whatever. I think that's gilding the lily. I really like the simplicity of the thick, heavy cream with the coffee and whiskey. But you know me, I'm a girl who loves the classics. So, okay. Well, you could put more in, but I don't want to make you guys sit here forever. So the other thing I'm going to do, and this is totally optional, is I like to grate a little bit of fresh nutmeg on it. Mark and Kira, nutmeg or no nutmeg?
Nutmeg.
Nutmeg.
Okay. I like and I've talked about this before, I keep a nutmeg nut and a grater. I do not buy that stuff that's pre-ground. It's not nice. It tastes like pesticide to me, and this stuff is not expensive. Again, you can get it at Amazon or any cooking supply store. Just a tiny little bit of grate. It adds a little bit of extra flavor. I think is really nice. And that's it. Ooh, I'm a little bit messy, but we won't tell.
The queen's not coming.
Queen's not coming.
Well,
So
he almost was coming.
we miss you, Eric. So Mark is filming, so he's gonna grab one here. But
I can multitask.
cheers,
Cheers
Eric Bras, whatever.
to the Irish. Mmm.
Oh, see, I love that.
All right, this
Ooh.
might be, and I'm not just saying this because you're my friend. This might be the best Irish coffee I've ever tasted. Honestly, honestly, this is really good.
I think the rich simple syrup with, and I didn't have Demerara sugar, so I just used regular brown sugar with white. I think it gives that extra flavor to it, and then the unsweetened cream I think makes a big difference.
I think you're right because it's not. That's you know what? That's exactly what it is. It's not too sweet. Oftentimes,
It's very
I
sweet.
find Irish coffee gets too sweet because of the whiskey and the cream, and then it feels sticky on your lips
Or greasy.
And, yeah,
And
This
the
is
one,
perfect.
thank you.
And I
thanks
like
so
that
much.
it's separated. Normally, it's
You have to. That's what the floating it on the spoon. And in
Yeah.
fact, if we drink down too much and you're out of your cream, you can just add a little more cream to the top.
yeah.
Top it
it.
off with a little more hot coffee. If you've had a good kick on the first shot and you want to go a little lighter and you want a second round, you just fill up a little more coffee, a little more cream. Don't use Ready Whip, please. Now, I have to admit, I'm a fan of Ready Whip for certain things. It's fun to squirt whipped cream out of a can. I'm not going to lie. But for this, just use heavy cream. You don't want that ersatz flavor and that greasiness that you do get with the aerosol whipped cream. So this is super easy to do. I have one of those immersion stick blenders that I did it with. You can do it by hand if you're crazy. I certainly never whip cream by hand because I'm not crazy. Well, I'm a little crazy, but not for that. So, yeah, I just think that this is
Really
like
good.
the perfect way to start
It
St.
really
Patrick's
is.
Day. And I love this. This is one of my favorite cocktails, actually.
It's really good, and here in LA, it's still morning. I mean, we might be closing in on noon. Yeah, so, but this is, I mean,
Breakfast.
Breakfast. This is-
Well, and I made some breakfast food.
Oh, yeah.
I made a bunch of like sausage and bacon and fruit and cheese and stuff. Please eat. If you're going to pub crawl, or if you're not, you're going to go to someone's house, or you're going to have people over at a holiday, please have some greasy, fatty food. Pace yourselves. We have to remember the water rule today. For every
Yes.
cocktail, you drink a water or a non-alcoholic drink. You want to enjoy the day. You don't want to end up face down in the gutter. So we're going to, when we go off camera, we're going to enjoy some breakfast brunch food that I've prepared. We're going to pig out a little bit, and then we're going to hit a couple of the local spots. And we may end the day, there's a couple great Irish and English pub places that have great fish and chips, so we might try to get some of that. That's not strictly Irish, but you know what? I don't care. I want what's delicious. So that is our plan for the day. We're also going to demo later, so look on the Soiree website and the Phantom Sway website. I was Googling recipes for St. Patrick's Day to see if there were any other cocktails we wanted to make, and I found one that has an Irish gin. Now, this is Drumshanbo Gunpowder Irish Gin, and it's called gunpowder because it's made with gunpowder tea, which is like an Asian tea. So you get a lot of Asian botanical and citrus notes along with the more traditional juniper notes of this. So check out the websites in the next week or so, and we're going to post a cocktail using this Irish gin, which I'm super curious about. I was thrilled that my liquor store beverage warehouse on McConnell carried. I couldn't even believe it because this is very obscure. But it sounds delicious, and I'm excited about this. So otherwise, we're going to have a nice day with our Irish coffees, and we have some Guinness in the fridge, and I'm sure we'll make our way down around town and do a little bit of celebrating. But whatever you do, don't drink and drive. That's what Uber and designated drivers are for. And enjoy your St. Patrick's Day from those of us at Soiree. Cheers.
Happy St. Patty's Day!
Happy St. Patrick's
St. Patty's
Day!
Day! Woohoo!